It's really wonderful to be here with you as always. Today, instead of starting on our back with something under our heads, we're going to start on our backs with something under our shoulder blades. So a thick block will work for this. I'm going to use a thin block. A rolled up towel that's pretty thick will work for this. So you want to put it behind your back, right below your neck on your shoulder blades. So your head will be free to the floor, but you're going to then interlace your hands behind your head to support your head. And you just want to make sure that it's on your shoulder blades and not too low, because if it's too low, it's going to prevent us from getting our ribs to drop down, and back to the mat, which is what we're working on. So just make sure it's really right at the base of your neck, at the top of your shoulder blades. And then have your other stuff nearby, other blocks perhaps, rolled up mat if you have an extra one, towels. I'm blocking everything as I'm pointing to it. But go ahead and come on down to your back with whatever you're using. And you could also use a bolster here, pillows if they're thin enough to just be under your shoulder blades. And come on down. And then once you've got your blades in the right area, interlace your hands behind your head for support and stretch your legs nice and long. And a couple things we're working on here. We're working on things that we're working on often. We're working on a neutral pelvis. So you want those three bones that make up the triangle on the front of your pelvis to be flat, your pubic bone and your two ASIS bones. As you start moving, there may be a tendency for the waist to flatten and the pubic bone to lift up, maybe the back of the thighs lift up. And as we change our legs, that could also happen. So keep tilting your tailbone down to the floor. And then from here, with your hands interlaced underneath your head, nice and slowly, think of your ribs dropping down and in as you lift your head up. But the ribs come down and in without the pelvis tucking under. So pelvis stays flat, ribs relax down and in. And then keep the ribs relaxed down and in as much as you can as you slowly drop your head back. And so, of course, the ribs might lift up a little bit, but you're focusing on not letting them lift up as much as the head drops back. And then curl yourself up. Maybe over time you can even feel both sides of the back of the ribs touch down to the mat. And head slides back without the ribs really lifting up into the air. And curl yourself up. And head leans back. And curl yourself up. And head goes back. And curl yourself up. Okay, hold. Feel those ribs drop down and in. It's kind of it. They're really dropping down and in when you bring your head up and let them drop down and in. That's the extent that we want to work with our ribs down and in today. Let's switch our legs here. So bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open out to the sides. Gently press the soles of your feet together as your thighs drop open. And then again, check that your waist doesn't flatten to the floor. You're tilting your tailbone, but then lifting and trying to drop those ribs down. And the ribs stay somewhat down as your head goes back and elbows open. And we'll do this a few more times. Curling up and dropping back, keeping the ribs relaxing down and back. And once you get pretty good at your ribs dropping down, you can start to notice subtleties, like does one side drop down more than the other? It takes a while. Based on my own body and experience, I know that my left ribs have a harder time dropping down, and it goes hand in hand with that my left shoulder is tighter in certain areas. And a couple more of these. When the ribs drop down and in, you should feel some of those upper abdominal muscles turning on. That's where we want to feel the sensation. All right, and then from there, you can let your head go back a little, lift your knees up, wiggle yourself forward, grab the block, and put it underneath your head. And then from there, extend your right leg long, scoot your hips a little bit over to the left, and go ahead and lift your left foot up and roll all the way over. So you're not trying to keep your ribs down on the floor like we do when we do a pure twist. Your foot can come over, your knee can come over. Now, if this isn't comfortable, grab something. You can put a block or a bolster or a rolled up mat under your leg just for some support. And now, even here, while you're in this spinal roll, drop your ribs down and into your body. Feel them sink back and into the body as you lift your left arm into the air. You might even keep your right hand on your ribs just to make sure they stay. And then roll your chest open any amount without the knee coming up, without the ribs lifting up. And then move that left arm in a semicircle. Depending on how much you roll open, it will either be up in the air a little bit or behind you a little bit. But today we're really focused on the ribs, staying back in this move. Smooth inhales and exhales. Enjoy your breath. Enjoy the sensations of your body. If anything doesn't feel good, go slower or do less range of motion. Your body is meant to feel good more than most of us have been taught. And if you're consistent with smaller motions and less ranges of motion, over time it will start to really feel good, even as you slowly create your range of motions to be a little bit bigger. All right, let that left arm come down. Press your right elbow into the floor to unwind your spine. And let's go over to the other side. So hips come back to center. Left leg extends long. Hips scoot over to the right. Roll all the way over. Your knee and foot come to the floor. Or you can stick a block or a rolled up mat or towel underneath your leg. And then from here, try to roll your spine back open without your leg and foot coming up off the floor, but feel those ribs drop down and in. And if you're not feeling them go down and in the same way that they were when we were doing the curls, it might be helpful to flip what's under your head a little bit higher, or to put a little something extra underneath your head. And then extend that right arm and maybe up in the air, maybe a little bit behind you, and move in that semicircle. Open up through the palm of the hand and the fingers. Ribs softening down and in, both sides of the ribs, front of the rib cage. And one more here. And then push down through your left elbow, unwind your spine, center your hips as you come back onto your back. You can use an extra block or something extra if you'd like to. We're going to reach our arms overhead. But again, if the ribs come up at all, or the pelvis tucks under when you bring the ribs down, better to have something higher underneath your hands. So a block at any height would work. And then slide it over to the right and walk your legs over to the right a little bit, maybe with ankles flex. Cross your left ankle over your right ankle. And breathing here. Let the left side of the body roll down to the floor, your left hip, your left rib cage, your left shoulder. And then uncross your ankles and slide your arms back over to the other side. And walk your legs over to the left and maybe cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Let the right side of your shoulder, your rib cage, your hip, your thigh come back down towards the floor. And breathing here, enjoying your breath. I'm so grateful that we're able to move together even while we're at home. It's harder, definitely harder to get into the habit at home of moving regularly. But when you get into the habit, over time, you'll start to feel just as good as in-person classes. Not to say that in-person classes aren't absolutely wonderful too, but it's really the movement that's doing the magic. All right, uncross your ankles, walk your arms and legs back to center, and then you can bring that block down. Now, if you only have one block, you'll probably want to use it underneath your hips. You might not need it under your head here, but you can have it under your head if you'd like to. Bend your knees, lift your hips up into the air. You're going to either use the block on the lowest height and put it right under your hips on your sacrum, or you're going to lift your hips a little higher and put the block one higher height. So I'm going to show you from the higher height because it's a little easier for you to see what we're working on. But there's two main positions your hips could be in here with your hips on the block. One is you can kind of be sitting on the block where your pubic bone comes down, your tailbone comes down, and there's still this bend where your thigh bone meets your pelvis, kind of like you're slightly sitting. So we want to take this bend out. We want to tuck our pelvis under slightly, let our waist drop down to the floor so that the front of our hips are flat here. So go ahead and adjust your block so it's in a comfortable position so you can work on that tilting position, but it's more gravity doing the work. Once you get your waist dropping down, as you're just opening the front of the hips here, ankles under your knees, outer edges of feet straight. And then from here, reach your arms up into the air, turn your palms to face behind you, pinky fingers touching, and we'll do different heights here, just like we did last week. So open your thumbs down, low chest height, and bring your pinky fingers back together. And then open your thumbs out, mid chest height, and pinky fingers come back together. Open your thumbs out, high chest height, pinky fingers come back together. Let's do one of those each one more time. High, and pinky fingers come together, and mid chest height. Check if your head is tipping back and your chin is coming up. Slide your head so your chin comes down a little. Low, open the thumbs. And the next time your pinky fingers come in, just check what happened. Did your pelvis pull you back to where there's that crease in the front of the thighs? Can you let your waist drop down and smooth out that crease? And then from here, open your thumbs to your sides and either touching the floor or hovering over the floor, go up and down in angel arms. If it's uncomfortable for your palms to be facing behind you like this, then just turn your palms flat to the ceiling and go up and down. Feel like you're reaching out through your upper back and your chest at the same time. And if your chin keeps going up a little bit, like mine does, which is why I often have something underneath my head, that's one sign that you're still carrying around some tension in your upper back because it's pulling your head back. Just something to be aware of. Are your feet steady? Are you on the center of your heels? And a couple more with the arms here. And then relax your arms, push down into your feet, lift your hips up, slide that block out. You can put it back underneath your head, especially if your ribs tend to lift up. Cross your right ankle in front of your left ankle, and then walk your ankles in opposite directions of each other. Now, if your hips and thighs are pretty tight here, your knees don't drop open easily, then working with a relaxed ankle will probably serve you for now. But if your thighs drop open pretty easily to the floor, you might start working with a neutral ankle where your ankles are flexed and your inner arches aren't rolling up to the ceiling but pushing forward a little bit, and then let your thighs drop open here any amount. You can always put a couple towels underneath your thighs. You can stay right here, or you can pick up your right foot and put it below your knee. So not on your knee, but below your knee on your lower leg, and slowly let that thigh drop open. And again, if your thighs open pretty easily, working with a neutral ankle will help you create stability. If this becomes too intense at any time, just take the right foot off and put it back in front of your left leg. And then from here, with your palms face down on your legs, nice and slowly lift your arms up into the air. And think of those ribs curling down in the same way that they did when we did those curls at the start. And now once your hands touch down, flip your palms so your thumbs point up. And take your arms up and overhead here. And palms flip up towards the ceiling. So 3 different rotations of the arms, and we'll do the same thing on the second side. All right, slide your right foot off, lift your thighs up a little, cross your left ankle in front, walk your feet in opposite directions. Decide if you're going to work with a relaxed ankle or a more stable ankle where the ankle's flexed and you're kind of pushing your inner arch forward as your thighs drop open. Wonderful to stay here. Sometimes you can pick up that left foot, put it below your knee on your lower leg. And again, just be conscious of what you're doing with the ankle. Is it kind of just dropping to one side? And then let that thigh slowly drop open. Take a moment here, feel your hips, palms start face down, ribs sink down into the body without the waist flattening, and take the arms overhead and back down. All these subtle little adjustments just get into muscles in a different way. Thumbs point up. And the tighter an area of the body is, the less blood flow that's going into that area. So that's why we work on getting into all the crevices. And palms face up as your arms go up and overhead. And back down. All right, from there, release that ankle, lift your knees up, give your knees a very gentle hug into your chest, maybe a little rock side to side. Okay, from here, you are going to want to take whatever is under your head out, and you're going to do the best you can to do some spinal rolls, unless it's too uncomfortable for your spine. Now, there's a couple different ways to roll your spine. One is to get a lot of momentum from your legs and kick your legs. But what that's doing is that's using a lot of the front of the hip rather than the actual motion of the spine and the deeper core muscles to roll. So if that's the only way at first, then of course you can work on that way. But otherwise, how about holding your legs in closer and not kicking as much, and then trying to still roll back and roll forward? The more stable your legs are, the more you have to use your deeper core muscles to rock and roll. So feet hip distance apart, maybe holding your shins in close and trying to roll without as much kicking motion coming from your legs. And you're just rolling up to between your shoulder blades and back up onto your buttocks or down. All right, next time you roll yourself up, plant your feet a little bit forward. And from there, with your feet flat, arms reaching forward, maybe even rest your arms on your legs so that the arms are staying stable. Rotate your pelvis back, push into your feet. Feel like you're dragging your thigh bones back into your pelvis as you rotate your pelvis upright. Try to make sure it's not just your spine and ribs going forward and back here. Your ribs stay relaxed down. Get motion in the pelvis to the best of your ability. Press down through the feet. For this one, you can, if you're really not getting any motion in the hips, get your hips higher. So stack your hips on maybe a block or a couple towels. And breathing here. Relax your belly. The tilt of the pelvis will do enough. It will turn on your core musculature, your deeper core musculature, especially if your ribs are relaxed down here. We haven't done this one in a while. Knees stay hip distance apart. Belly button aims right in the center of the two legs. All right, and bring your hands down and come around onto your back, or onto your belly, onto your belly, and you're gonna come on down. So we want a flat pelvis. You want your pubic bone on the floor all the way, with your ASIS bones also on the floor. One thing that helps at first, and even just to come back and do every once in a while, and just while we're here, actually while we're sitting back on our toes, and if it's not comfortable for you to sit back on your toes, you can stand on your knees, but just go ahead and do a twist of your belly button here to one side, and then turn your belly button to the other side for a moment. Okay, then if you have a rolled up towel or a rolled up mat, you can put it on the top front of your pelvis, and that will encourage the bottom of your pelvis to kind of tip down to the floor. So feel free to set yourself up like that. Have your strap nearby. And then the top of the pelvis, and just like when it's under our shoulder blades, we don't want it too low. And same thing here, because if it's too low, then our pubic bone isn't able to tilt to the floor as easily. So we want it high enough up, right on our lower belly area, top of our pelvis area, so that our pubic bone can easily tilt to the floor, and it just gives it a little support in doing so. And then from here, take your strap and create a loop and lasso it around one of your ankles. And then you can lay your torso down and still feel that tailbone tilting to the floor. I'm not going to lay my torso down for speaking purposes. Flex your ankle and pull your heel in any amount. Try to feel the stretch on the center of your quadriceps, the center of the front of your thigh. So that might require you to hop your knee out a little bit or hop your knee in a little bit. And when you hit the center, you'll know that your knee, the center of your knee, is more likely in line with the center of that top ASIS bone. Keep tilting the pubic bone down to the floor without clenching. And let's switch legs. Create a loop, lasso it around your other ankle, flex your ankle the whole time. Tailbone and pubic bone tilt down to the floor. You can lay your upper body down, I recommend it. And breathing here. Relax if it's your left leg curled back, relax your right leg. If it's your right leg curled back, relax your left leg. Notice how the other leg will tense up. Okay, and then release that ankle. All right, from here, slide your left knee out to your side, a 90-degree angle. Knee no higher than the hip. Ankle in line with the knee. And then again, let your torso lay down. And you have this support here that's helping your pubic bone tilt to the floor. And then just relax around your thigh muscles, your hip muscles as much as possible. It's quite amazing how just very subtle shifts in the angles of our bones really changes the muscles we're able to get into and reach. All right, you can stay with a bent knee, which works a little bit higher up your inner thigh, or you can extend that outside leg straight. And if my foot cut off the screen, my ankle is still in flexion with the inner edge of the foot down. And the leg is nice and straight, but you're trying to relax any unnecessary clenching. even in your opposite leg, in your right leg. And then feel that towel or rolled up, whatever you're using to support your pubic bone, coming down to the floor. And if you didn't do it with this today, I highly recommend practicing it another time. Good, and then bend that left knee and slide it back behind you, and bend your right knee out to the right. Knee no higher than the hip. Kind of let the pelvis come down to the floor on the right side as much as possible. One of the advantages to laying your ribs on the floor is that it helps you not to twist your upper body. So try to feel both sides of your rib cage on the floor as well. Feel that tilt of your pubic bone to the floor. Relax any clenching. You might not even think you're clenching, and then if you try to relax an area, you'll realize you're clenching a lot. And then if you'd like to extend that right leg long, a flexed ankle on the inside of the foot, you can slide it up if you'd like to, no higher than your hip, so your waist stays nice and long. Relaxing any clenching across the buttocks muscles, around the thigh muscles. All right, bend that knee, slide it back behind you. Use your hands under your chest to push yourself up just a little bit. Remove that roll if you were using it out of the way. Tuck your toes under as much as you comfortably can. You can always put that roll underneath your knees with your knees hip distance apart and your feet as wide as your knees. Bring your elbows down to the floor. Today we're going to put the palms of our hands together, and then starting with your elbows right under your shoulders or a little bit in front of your shoulders. Relax your belly so your tailbone's high in the air, and just start to push your hips back and let them come forward a little. Keeping the ankles steady, the toes steady. And if your tailbone's high, and if you're able to, you can kind of curl the ribs in like we did initially with those curls, as long as your tailbone doesn't tuck under, as long as that waist curve stays and your tailbone stays high in the air. Relax your lower belly a lot. And then next time you push your hips back, stay there and lift your hands up off the floor and drop them down. Do that 3 more times. And then let your hips go back forward, and from here walk up onto your hands, stand up on your knees, and step your right foot forward into a low lunge. For today, we're going to work with a left hip that's back over our left knee instead of letting our hip go forward. So back your hip up. You can be on the top of your back foot, or you can tuck your toes under. Sometimes that helps with stability. With the outer edge of your foot straight, interlace your fingers, right pinky finger on the bottom. Flip your hands, press away, gently spread the thumbs away from each other. Try to get a nice even interlace between your fingers, and then think of your ribs relaxing down as you slowly bring your hands up into the air. Keep gently spreading the thumbs, keep the fingers evenly interlaced. And then once you're up there, ribs down, release your hands, bring the palms of your hands together, elbows hug in a little, and you can either tap the top of your head, or if you have space, you can go behind your head and then extend your arms. So either one, tap and extend. Ribs relax down. Tap and extend. Tap and extend. Palms gently pressed together. Tap and extend. And then release your hands down by your sides. Switch legs. Step your right foot back, knees hip distance apart under your ASIS bones. Step your left foot forward, outer edge of the foot straight. Maybe tuck your back toes under, and then back up that back hip, but just push your pubic bone forward a little bit. Interlace your left pinky finger on the bottom. Nice even interlace. Press away. Gently spread the thumbs away from each other and back towards you. And then think of those ribs curling down and in, just like when you did those crunchies, and keep them here as your arms go up. If the ribs start to lift up, that's your boundary. Stay there. And then bring the palms of your hands together. And again, you can either tap the top of your head, or you can, if your hands come down to the back of your neck easily, you can do that. And extend. And tap, elbows hug in. And extend. And tap. And extend. And tap. And extend. Then release your arms down and just notice, did your hips naturally want to go forward? And just be aware of that. I noticed that as I was standing. So backing your hips up a little bit so that hip comes right over the knee. All right, from here, tucking your back toes under, push down through your front foot, push down to come up to stand. From a standing position with the outer edges of your feet straight and your ankles hip distance apart. Push down through your outer right hip, hug it in, let your left foot come up off the floor, keep backing up your weight into your heels, working that right leg, and then just circle your left ankle nice and slowly. Try to feel a complete circle, and then circle in the other direction. Don't forget about the work in the right leg, backing the hip up. And then from there, tuck the top of that left foot behind you, top of the foot stretch. Watch the ankle rolling out to the side at first. That may right hip, bring your left foot back, outer edges of feet straight. Push down through the left hip, hug it in. The right foot floats up into the air. Back your weight up into the heel of the left leg, and then circle your ankle here. You can always have a chair or something to hold on to. Keep pushing down through the outer right hip. Try to circle the ankle and not the rest of the thigh bone, which I'm not doing the greatest job at. And then circle in the other direction. If you're starting to feel work on the front of the thigh, that's a good indication that you need to back your thigh bone up more. Got to work on ankle circles on this leg for sure. All right, tuck the top of the foot behind you. Center of the top of the foot, backing the thigh bone up. So not backing the torso up, but backing up from the thigh bones. Push down through your standing leg hip, hug it in if it tends to pop out to the side, and take a couple breaths here. Great time to practice relaxing your kneecap on your standing leg. And if it won't relax, try to back up your hips further. You can even clench the front of your thigh for a second and then release it and see if you feel any motion there, or if you can see motion if you're in front of a mirror. And then release that top of the foot. All right, grab whatever you're going to use for a calf stretch. I'm going to use a short block today. Put the block in front of your right foot, your heel, ball of the foot up, heel down on the floor, outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. You can keep your left foot where it is or step it forward a little. From here, let's interlace your hands behind your head. Just choose an interlace, but then next time do the opposite. And from here, curl your ribs down and back into your body. While you're there, you can check, is your pelvis in neutral? Is your pubic bone in front of your ASIS bones or behind it? Try to line them up right in line with each other. Then keep your ribs down as you lift your head back up. And let's do that a few more times. Curl your ribs down and slide your head back. Ribs stay relaxed down and back. And curl down and slide back. and curl down and slide back. Now think of those ribs staying back and in as you ramp your head back a little further and let it come forward. Head ramps back and forward a little. Head ramps back without the ribs moving and forward. Head presses straight back into the hands. Excellent. Release your hands and let's switch legs. Stepping the ball of the left foot up, the heel down, outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Maybe that outside foot steps forward a little bit. Weight back in the heels, pelvis in neutral. Interlace your opposite fingers behind your head. And then curl your ribs down and back. And slide your ears back over your shoulders. And curl your ribs down and back. And slide your ears back. And curl, so it's almost like you're doing a crunchie, but you're upright. And slide back. And feel the ribs curl down and back. And then slide your head back. Now think of the ribs dropping down and back here, even if you feel like you're coming forward a little, and just slide your head back and let it go forward a little, ramping the head back into the hands without the ribs coming up. One more like that. And if you don't already, over time, you'll feel a lot of different motions all across your upper back and the mid back. All right, from there, release your hands. Go ahead and step off your prop and start at the top of the mat with the outer edges of the feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. From the top of the mat, circle your arms out and up into the air. Hold on with your left hand to your right wrist and pull yourself over to the left. Ribs relax down and back, pelvis in neutral, hips back over the heels. Bring yourself back up, switch wrist, and go over, pressing down through both of the outer hips. Let's do one more each side. Side bend, pulling on the wrist. And side bend, pulling gently on the wrist. Good. Come back up, feet straight, ankles hip distance. Sit back into a chair pose. Try not to let the knees lead the way. And press up. Sit back into a chair pose. Watch the thighs collapsing in or out. And press up. Sit back. Toes are relaxed on the floor, but weight is back in the heels and the ball of the foot is active. And press up. And one more. Sit back. Fold over your legs. Keep your right foot forward. As you step your left foot back, softly lower your knee down, stand up in that low lunge, back your left hip up so it's over your knee. You can always put padding here under the knee. Interlace your hands behind your head. Doesn't matter which pinky finger's on the top, just switch. Now from here, with your hip backed up over your knee, curl your ribs down. See if you can feel the change in the stretch in the front of the thigh. And then back your head up only. Curl your ribs down. Back your head up. Curl your ribs down. Back your head up. Curl your ribs down. Back your head up. Now keep the ribs curling down and just ramp your head back a little further into your hands. You might even be able to feel how changing the position of your head and neck also changes the stretch down the front of your thigh. It really is all connected. You could have a hip issue that's related to the way that you hold your head all the time. That's why we focus so much on just whole body health. All right, from there, release your arms into the air. Bring your hands down to the floor inside your right foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, stretch that leg strong, and then walk halfway around to the left and parallel your feet. Back your weight up into your heels, push down through the backs of the legs to come up, and then you're going to shift your hips from side to side, a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. And now you want to center your hips and just move from the rib cage. Reach your arms out, low chest height. How about sliding your ribs to the right without much hip motion? Sliding your ribs to the left. Come back to center. Slide your ribs to the right. Slide your ribs to the left. Come back to center. Now the whole time the ribs, just like at the start of class, are curling down and back. So curl them down and back a little bit more. Lift your arms a little higher. Slide your ribs to the right. Slide your ribs to the left. Slide your ribs to the right. Slide your ribs to the left. Bring your ribs to center. Rotate from the pelvis into just about a half forward fold. Great time to practice relaxing and lifting your kneecaps up and down. And then from here, shift your hips to the right, backing your weight up into your heels. Shift your hips to your left, backing your weight up into your heels. And shift the hips to the right. And shift the hips to the left, backing up. And then bring your hips back to center. Push through the buttocks into the heels to come up. And then open your arms out to your sides and sit back into a wide squat. Opening through the inner thighs. Press into the feet to come up. Heel toe your feet in just a little bit. So a little bit at a time, one step at a time. Sit back into your hips. Back up. Press down to come up. A little bit closer, not quite hip distance apart yet. Sit back. Checking your knees, checking your feet, checking your toes. Press up and then into hip distance apart. Circle your arms up. Again, right fingers grabs left wrist, side bend, weight back in the heels, ribs drop down and in. And go to the other side. Ribs drop down and in, weight back in the heels. And come up, and from here, you're sitting back into a chair pose, but then lifting up off of your heels and slowly squatting down as much as you comfortably can. And then once you get down there, you're rotating one knee down to the floor and then the other knee down to the floor. And if it's not comfortable to sit back on your heels, then stay lifted, and you're going to go hips over to the right a little, press up, hips over to the left a little, press up. If it's comfortable to sit back on your heels, then slide your hips to the right and try not to fall. You could even put a towel on both sides of you and slide your hips back through center and go over to the left, nice and slow. And slide your hips across. If you're upright, you're sitting back to one side. And slide your hips across. Let's do 2 more on each side, working with as little momentum as possible. Push down to slide across. And slide across. 1 more each side. Slide across. And slide across. And then go ahead and come back to center. Stand up if you're sitting back. Turn to the side of your mat. Thumbs spread out towards each other. Elbow pits. We won't focus on them yet, but you know where they go if you've been doing this a while. Knees hip distance apart. Relax your belly so your tailbone's high in the air. Let your rib cage just drop down between your 2 straight arms. And lift up through your armpits and rib cage without tucking your pelvis under. Go up and down a few times. Now, if you have elbows that can kind of push forward and lock out, a lot of your work is going to be to back your elbows up so they're lined up right over your wrist as you go up and down in these rhomboid push-ups. Even though your feet aren't tucked down under, they're still active. So press down through the tops of your feet. You can always have them tucked under as well. All right, next time you're in the up position of the rhomboid push-up, hold it. Feel the rib cage lift up. Feel the breastbone lift up. Now rotate your arm bones so your elbow pits turn to face each other, and then wrap them in so they face forward. Rotate out and wrap in. Rotate out and wrap in. Rotate out, wrap in. See if you can feel the difference. Go slow of how your shoulders and upper back and chest muscles work. Now keep them wrapping forward and do a few more rhomboid push-ups. Try to press equally through the palms of the hands. What happened to your feet? Did you forget about them? All right, from here, stand up on your knees. We're going to step your left foot forward first. If you want to, you can put a towel or a pillow under your right knee. Left foot forward, back your hip up so your hips right over your knee or closer to it. Tuck your back toes under, ribs relax down, ears slide back over the shoulders. How about little lifts of your back foot? And notice as you lift your foot, your hips will want to come forward. So you're trying to, at the same time, keep your hips back a little. You might need to scoot your ankle right back under your knee as you lift and lower your foot. Breathing here. All right, let's switch sides. So slide your left leg back, maybe support under the knee. Step your right foot forward, back your hips up, ankle right under your front knee so that your hips right under the knee, pubic bone forward, ribs relax down, ears slide back over the shoulders, and little lifts. And on this side, man, my hips want to go forward a lot more, so I'm just going to work on it. Pubic bone forward. All right, from there, push down to step up. All right, let's go to the other side. Outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Weight back in your heels. So be conscious of the weight shifting forward. Weight back in your heels. Circle your arms around. Right fingers hold on to left wrist. Ribs relax down. Pull yourself gently over to the right. Breathing. Holding. Relaxing the front of your thighs. And switch arms. Pull yourself gently over to the left. Thigh bones back up. Ribs back up. Relax the front of the thighs. Breathing. Good. Come on up. Outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance. Sit back into a chair pose. Hold. Backing your hips up. If inner thighs clench in, roll the top of the thighs open a little. Weight back in the heels. Balls of the feet below the toes press down, but toes are relaxed. Maybe the hips drop a little lower. And again, if you get that nice lift of your tailbone, can you slide your ribs back without losing the curve of your natural spine? Bring your hands down to the floor. Keep your left foot forward. Step your right leg back. Lower the knee down. You can always pad the knee. Come on up. Pubic bone forward. Back the thigh bone up over the hip. Interlace left pinky finger or opposite pinky finger on the back. Curl the ribs down. Slide the ears back. Curl the ribs down. Slide the head back. Curl the ribs down. Slide the head back. Curl the ribs down. Slide the head back. Now think of the ribs still curling down a lot. Just slide the head back into the hands a little more. And start to feel the connection between how if the upper body is out of alignment, it affects the way the muscles around the hips can work. Reach your arms into the air, bring them down inside your left foot, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then from there, walk halfway around. Parallel your feet, put your weight back in your heels, press down through your buttocks to come up. And then from here, weight back in the heels, reach your arms out. Let's just shift the hips one time to the left and to the right. Now keep your hips steady, reach your arms a little higher than shoulder height. Shift your ribs to the left and to the right. And to the left and to the right. Remember, your ribs are sinking down and back. Arms a little higher. Rib shift to the left and to the right. Rib shift to the left and to the right. Bring your ribs back to center. Rotate from your pelvis. Great time to practice relaxing your kneecaps and shift your hips to the left and to the right. Not a lot of torso motion turning. The torso stays steady. It's just the hips. To the left, back your weight up, and to the right. Come back to center, come up to stand, reach your arms out to your sides and keep going. Sit back into a wide squat. Breathing, inner thighs open, weight back in the heels, press down through the tops of the feet. Press into your heels to come up, walk your feet in a step. and sit back. Always give your arms a break if they need it. Press into the heels to come in. Not quite hip distance apart yet. Sit back. And press up. Walk your feet in hip distance. Hold your right wrist with your left fingers. Go up and over. And switch. Remember, ribs are back and down. Pelvis is in neutral. Thigh bone weight back over the heels. Front of the foot active. And come up. And from there, sit back into your chair pose. Come up off of your heels. And then slowly go down lower. And if you can remember which leg you did first, try to do the opposite leg, probably the one that's harder to do. And then slide it back. Knees hip distance apart. You're either standing up on your knees and going from side to side and coming up, or you're sitting back on your heels and sliding from side to side. And if you find yourself kind of falling, then have something next to you, like a pillow, so you don't have to go so low over to the ground. And slide across from side to side. Buttocks sticking back, ribs dropping down. 2 more. From side to side. Try to use a little less momentum. From side to side. And then come back to center, stand up on your knees, walk around to one side, bring your hands down to the mat, knees hip distance apart, thumbs spread out. Now our 2 core components, top of the rhomboid push-up without the tailbone tuck under, wrap the elbow pits forward without pushing them forward, and then step back into a full plank pose, tucking your toes under. Go up and back to a down dog here. Put a big bend in your knees. Stick your buttocks high, and then just try to straighten your legs slowly without the tailbone tucking under, and rebend the knees, staying on the center of the ball of the foot. Press equally through the palms of the hands. Thigh bones straighten back, and bend. Watch the knees collapsing in or out. Thigh bones straighten back, and bend. Thigh bones straighten back as much as your tail stays high, and then wrap your elbows out and in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out, and in. And then put your knees down, stand up on your knees. Now here's where you might, again, want something under your knee. We're going to do the right foot first forward this time. Have your strap ready. Right foot steps forward, back up over that hip, front right ankle under the knee. Take your lasso, wrap it around, and you might have to lean your hip forward to get the lasso around your ankle. But then from there, you're trying to you're lifting your foot up, and at the same time trying to back your hip up as your pubic bone pushes forward. And breathing. Ribs relax down, ears slide back over the shoulders. And let's switch sides. So, switching knees, feel free to put extra support under there. I don't know if my knee would feel fine or not, but I haven't done this in a while, so just for that, since I haven't done it in a while, I'm going to take extra good care of my body and just be cautious and adapt slowly. All right, from here, create your lasso, wrap it around your ankle, and then your ankle's up, and you're trying to back your hip up and push your pubic bone forward a little as your ribs relax down and your ears slide back over the shoulders. Hard to back my hip up. Ribs relax down, hip backing up, ears slide back over the shoulders. And and release the foot and release the strap. And then from there, you're just going to slide your one knee back to meet your other knee, and we're going to come into a side bend. So whatever you'd like to stack yourself over, I'm going to use a block with a rolled up towel on top. You're just going to lay one side of your rib cage over the block, and you can use a bolster. You can definitely use something higher if you have something higher, and let your head rest down to comfort and reach your top arm up and over any amount. Now check here, are your ribs pushing forward? Just like we started, pelvis in neutral, ribs curl back into the body here. Put your top arm in front of you to press yourself up, and then turn over to the other side. Below your armpit, above your waist. And as you're setting yourself up, you're lining up your body in a straight line. You're checking, where is my pubic bone relative? The front of the pelvis is flat. My ribs curl back and in as you lay down and reach your top arm over. Of course, you can always have an extra block underneath your top hand, an extra pillow underneath your head. And sometimes when you get your pelvis just a little bit more into neutral, or your rib cage to drop down and back a little more, and you feel the different activity, you realize, oh, all the time when I'm moving, it's very subtle, but my ribs are still lifted up a little bit. Take a few more breaths here. Use your top hand in front of you and press yourself up. Okay, have a seat on something higher that allows you to tilt your tailbone into neutral. Grab your strap. And you can sit however you'd like to. If you cross your legs, then you're just going to have to switch at some point, but you can spread your legs out into V. You can do soles of the feet together. Just keep rotating your pelvis forward and dropping your ribs down. And you're trying to separate those two motions. So just be aware, oh, when I drop my ribs down, my pelvis goes back. That just means that there's still a lot of tension in the waist area, so keep working on it. Pelvis forward, ribs drop down. Wrap that strap around your lower rib cage, below your chest. Tie it pretty tight, and then we'll work on breathing into that area. All right, pelvis upright, ribs relax down. Focus all around the rib cage. In particular, the top sides and the back tend to be tight. And then from here, inhaling. And exhale, pulling away from the strap. Try to relax your belly. So the belly's not doing, the belly will move, but it's not doing the motion. It's around the rib, the muscles in between the ribs that we want to work. Inhale. And exhale, pull it in. And if my pace isn't good for you, then just work on your own pace. Inhale. And exhale. Pelvis upright, ribs relax down, ears slide back. Inhale. And exhale all the way out. Let's do one more of those from a long leg, slight forward fold. Rotate forward from the pelvis. Relax the head and neck a little bit. Inhale. And exhale. And then slowly roll up and roll all the way onto your back. You can move the strap if it's not comfortable. Have something to put under your head and lay down on your back with your palms face up. Let your gaze soften or your eyes gently close. Become very present with your body, with your breath. Stay present with your body, with your breath. Tell yourself, everything will work out. Things will get better. Tell yourself, I am important. Tell yourself, I am worthy of great things. Tell yourself, I am lovable. The time is now. This too shall pass. I can be who I really am. The best is yet to come. Tell yourself, I am strong. I can do this. We believe what we tell ourselves. If you're ready to start moving, you can reach your arms overhead and just feel your body here. Do you want to stretch out through your fingers or your toes? Feel what wants to move, and then recognize what perhaps needs to move, a part of the body that you don't give much attention to, maybe your ankles, maybe your wrist, anywhere from your ankle to your hip, from your wrist to your shoulder. Just move around a little bit. And then when you're ready, roll over to one side and pause on your side and take one more of those rib breaths. Feel where your ribs are, even when you're lying on your side. Can you soften them down and into your body a little bit? And then breathing into the sides of the ribs, the back of the ribs as you inhale. Exhale, hug everything in. And then when you're completely done with that exhale, press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. You can sit any way that you'd like to. Bringing your hands together at heart center in gratitude for this day. Namaste.